Good morning and welcome back to Mod and Pop Thrift. My name is Tom. I'm a stay-at-home dad for 5 kids and we've got one on the way. I'm a full-time eBay reseller and I've got 30 items to ship out on this Monday morning. Let's get into it. They say the air quality today is better than it was yesterday, but it looks worse. I don't think it smells worse. All right, so with 30 to do, I'm just gonna get straight into it. Good morning, thanks for joining us. SpongeBob DVD player should have come with a specialized SpongeBob remote. It has buttons, so we were able to test it. I paid $4 for it about a week ago. Sold for $29 plus shipping. Buyers all in at almost $40. If it had come with the remote, it would have been $50 plus shipping. This little flash pin, I don't buy pins individually. I'm not like paying 50 cents for this at a garage sale. I got a bunch of pins, like 100. And that's normally how I'm buying pins. Like I'll even spend $35, $40 on a lot of 100 pins, but I'm almost never going to buy individuals. Anyway, I have almost nothing into this. I sold for $6.99 plus shipping. But it's been listed forever. Pins are just one of those things where you get 100, you list them all, and 25 sell in the first month, and then the other 75 sell eventually. And so if you had, thousands of pins, the eventually ones probably would sell every day, but I have a couple hundred pins listed in my store, and they sell once a week, once a month, and it's another $5-6 in my pocket. Magic Johnson, I paid $25 for this. It's in remarkably good condition, and it is a cool vintage champion jersey. And it sold for $59 free shipping. I've probably only had it listed for 6-8 days, something like that. Let's do this Xbox cable. I found this in the death pile. I was testing some things that I was coming across, and I'm like, well, I don't need this anymore. I'm gonna list it. It did work, even though the Xbox didn't. It sold for $10 free shipping, but I literally have nothing into it. It might have been better to keep it for the sake of testing Xboxes later, but I have a third-party generic one that would be just fine. This Megadeth shirt, I'm pretty sure I paid like $15 for this on the Bay Island tag, which I'm never a big fan of. It's just a cheap reprint brand most of the time. Megadeth, always going to do well. Megadeth and Slayer and Iron Maiden are really big. Like they're not Metallica, so you're not generally not seeing Megadeth at Walmart the way that you would with Metallica. You got to go to Target for that. Anyway, they do really, really well. This Supernatural t-shirt I picked up, and I said at the time, like, I can't find any comps on this, but I just believe it's worth picking up for $5. I've had it for like 2 weeks, and it sold for $19 free shipping. So, like, it's not going to cost me $5 to ship, but even if it did, I'm $10 in it. Let's say that $10 includes fees, because it's probably going to cost me like $3.50 to ship. Anyway, I'm making $8-9 on it pretty easily. This Ditch Witch hat I paid $1/4 for at a yard sale. The problem with it is somebody set it to their size and then cut the leather strap off the end, so it doesn't get any bigger than that. It's a cool hat. It's got a good look. It's got a recognizable brand if you've ever dug ditches. And I only paid $1/4 for it, but unfortunately it does have what would be considered a little bit of damage. sold for $12 plus shipping. Probably just a couple of weeks that's been listed. This here, this brand is Under Armour, if you're not familiar. Under Armour Black Project by The Rock, like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, the People's Champ, who has this clothing line. And it's not as popular as it used to be, but it's still, like, it's better than anything else, Under Armour. Sold for, I paid $3 for it. It sold for $14 plus shipping. And then we have this empty box, just straight up totally an empty box. Not even, like, this should have some styrofoam or cardboard dividers to hold things in place, but it doesn't. Still, it sold for $40 free shipping. I have a lot of empty console boxes, and I probably shouldn't have sold that, but I didn't have a console to put in it, and every time I buy an Xbox, it's broken. So I'm like, I'm probably never gonna have a console to put in it. So I got it down thinking I had a working console. The console didn't work, and I'm like, I'm just gonna list all this Xbox stuff. Forget it. Are other people having this issue? Like, look at this SpongeBob DVD player that we just talked about. Media. It auto selects media as the shipping option. And I mean, I can easily enough just move it over. Maybe I can move it over to Ground Advantage, but it auto pops up. Most of the things that I'm finding are things that I listed recently and put Ground Advantage as an option before it was an option. Like, I listed as parcel select Ground Advantage, and then it's coming up as media mail when I go to select it, which is nuts. And it's not a big deal. I just put it back to where it should be. But then the Rock t-shirt also says it's buyer selected media mail. I'm not going to ship it media mail. That's not what media mail's for. I wish I could get that rate. That'd be fantastic, but it isn't going to happen. Anyway, that's something I just ran into, and I wondered if you guys were seeing it too. I pay $1 a piece for old trophies with metal toppers, unless sometimes I'll pay, like, there's a company that does a lot of estate sales around here, and I go and see them. Sometimes they're $3, and if they're really good, I'll pay $3. But normally I show up on half price day and say, hey, these would be $1.50 if I buy 15 of them. You're going to sell them to me for $1 a piece. You can pull the tops off, and they do well if they're metal. Plastic ones aren't worth much at all. If they're like a motorcycle or a giant baseball or a car, something that's really, really cool, you can do okay with them. But the ones that people collect and like are metal. I say all that to say this sold for $4 because ladies bowling isn't a super collectible thing. It took a long time to sell. $4 plus shipping. Buyers all in at 10. Joker t-shirt. This, I don't know if this is ODM, maybe. It's not a shirt I would generally pick up. Reasonably certain that I got this off of Whatnot, either for $1 or for a giveaway. But at any rate, it sold for $9.99 plus shipping. And it's been listed a long time. It's not the kind of thing, it's the kind of thing that will sell, but it's not the kind of thing that's going to sell very fast. So, men's t-shirts for $10 plus shipping is kind of a staple in my store. Breads and butters, if you will. This one I expected to do better. It did not. I think we paid $4 for it at a Goodwill in maybe Indianapolis. It's Mike Tyson, Dirty Ghetto Kids brand. It just says DGK, but it's Dirty Ghetto Kids. Look, as Trunks say it too. Sold for $11.99 plus shipping. So, I mean, we made some money. It took longer to sell than I expected, and it didn't go for as much, but it sold. This is a vintage card shuffler. The box is a little messed up, but I've never actually owned one in the box before. It doesn't have instructions, unfortunately. You put a deck of cards in each side, and then you spin this, and they fall out to the middle as a shuffled deck. Did you know that there are more, like, there are 52 cards in a pile of cards in a standard deck of playing cards, and factorially 52, you can get more combinations of playing cards than there are atoms in the known universe. Like, it's, so it'd be 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 times 6 times 7 out to 52, and the number is so astronomically large that if every person on Earth shuffled a deck of cards for their entire life, you would never get all the combinations. I said that wrong. If every person who ever existed shuffled a deck of cards for the entire time the Earth existed, you wouldn't get close. It's an insane number, and I just think it's fascinating. But this will get you a lot of combinations, and it's a vintage card shuffler. I think I paid $15. Buyer paid $45 plus shipping. They're all in at $62. And that card shuffler, anecdotally, is the one of the very first things I ever bought at a live auction. And I bought it for like $3 and it sold for $25. And so I like to pick them up kind of nostalgically because it's kind of where my roots are. Popcorn poppers were early. Herman Miller chairs were early. And that card shuffler was pretty early. Things that I considered bolos and looked for and found a lot and made some money and got the ball rolling for my would-be full-time eBay store eventually. This thing, I picked up a box of GPS with a GPS handheld unit, not a stick it on the windshield and tell you where to drive unit, a go hiking and camping in the woods handheld unit. Paid $1 for the unit, and it had some accessories in it. Sold the unit for like $75. This sold for $20, free shipping. It's an antenna extender and with a car mount thing. Anyway, so this sold for $20, and I am way in the profit a long time ago on it. I picked up this Schlitz hat. It looks modern to me, but it definitely has the Made in USA snap, which is desirable, and Made in USA tag on it. So I can't imagine that it's too awful new, but it's kind of a flat bill. I don't know. Ebbets Field Flannels Washington? Authentic vintage. But then, wasn't Ebbets Field in New York City? I don't know. There's a lot going on here. I paid $2 for it. It sold for $11.50 plus shipping. Buyers all in at $17.50. So we're making some money. And I haven't had it for too awful long, considering it's a hat. Hats have long tails. And so that hat I've had for probably 6 or 8 weeks. But that's not a long time to get real money out of a hat, because hats don't sell fast. They're easy, they're fun, they're cool, but they're slow. Hey, I wasn't recording that. This hat. It's got nice 90s colors, but Thrilled to be 60 Not is a very 90s thing to have had on a hat, and hats are long tail. And this is a Nissan, made in China. Paid $1 for it at an estate sale. Sold for $8 plus shipping. Not great, but I mean, it did sell, and it's a good, decent return, right? This one has a lot of story. This is a vintage starter Bulls jacket. Really, really nice condition. Extra large size. So, like, it's a good size. I paid $2 for it at a garage sale, and I knew it was great. I didn't know exactly how great it was. Took it home, did some research, ended up listing it for $110, and that was probably, well, the boys were still in school, so that had to have been early May, probably. We knew we were having a new baby, so it would have been like, well, it was yard sales. Anyway, probably April or late April, early May. And we got it for $2, and I brought it home and I listed it for $110, and I got a bunch of lowball offers like $25 and $30, and I'm like, no. And then it hung out for a long time, and sales slowed down a lot, and I got an offer for $50, and I'm like, I'm not gonna sell it for $50, but I sent an offer for 90, and the guy countered at 50. I countered at 80. He countered at 60. I countered at 75 and said, or I declined his 60, and then he came back at he re-offered 65, and I declined that, and then he re-offered 75. So I was like, I'm just standing firm at 75, and he can continue to submit offers, but I'm going to take it. I'm going to sell it for 75, or I'm going to hang on to it because it will sell. But also I need the sale. So it's kind of like, but then I got a note that says, please don't include an invoice when shipping, and kindly provide a tracking number with the courier, and if possible, ship as soon as possible. 5-star feedback, which if you've been in this for very long, that's a drop shipper. And so I'm going to include a Mod and Pop thrift sticker with it and put eBay tape on it because I'm petty. But I think some people would be offended at the idea that this is a person who is going to make money selling, already made money selling this, and is waiting for it to show up because they have an end user in mind already. Most likely an international one, given the addresses that are present. So, but I don't care. Do you care? Like, if I bought it for $2 and it sells for 75, even if it's worth 125, and that person sold it for 125 and they're making the $50 and I'm only making 60, I don't understand why that matters. I know a lot of people get offended at drop shippers. A lot of people get upset at people trying to lowball them to resell their items. I'm here to do business. My door is open. Buy my stuff. You own it. Do whatever you want with it. If you think you can make money at $75 on this, be my guest. Anyway, because it's a drop shipper, I'm putting Mod and Pop thrift sticker and eBay tape on it because I just think it's funny. Because they did say don't include an invoice, but they'll know that it didn't come from the guy they bought it from, which it's just me being silly. But that's the Bulls jacket, and super nice. If it had been one size bigger, 2X, I might have kept it, but it was not, and I don't need to keep everything. That's the story on that one. All right, so I did 17 items, and that included everything that had to go out today, things that need to ship within the next 24 hours. And so I have 12 left to do, but I think I'm going to leave those for another day because I'm motivated to try to get organized more today. I've got a handful of things that need to be condensed into new boxes. I'm going to try and go through the death pile and donate most of it. Even if it's valuable, it's costing me money and motivation and space that I could do other things with. So I'm going to go through, and I'm not going to get rid of things that are like bangers in the death pile. But if it was a banger, I pulled it out a long time ago, and it's just wasting space at this point. So I'm going to try to get through some of this organization stuff and try to get through the death pile some and see what happens with my day. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking, commenting, subscribing, and we'll see you on the next one.